So tonight I'm going to show you how to do some of this stuff. But before we get into the math and all the amazing things I want to show you tonight, I have to cover something that is amazing that you don't know. Or I don't think you know, because most don't. Okay? And I'm going to go over this right now, because if you understand this core concept, you will instantly, I'm going to make you a dealologist in the next 5 minutes instantly by explaining this one thing to you. Are you guys ready? Good, now I got to get ready. So, there is a thing, anybody ever do stock market trading? Oh, good. So, have you ever heard the word option? So, can one of you in stock market terms give me a definition of what you think an option is? Can anybody do that? No? Yes?
So they got put and call.
Yeah, so let's not get that fancy because we don't give the, but yes, that is correct.
So the option gives either the buyer or seller the opportunity to buy something without full price, just putting some money down to control.
So he says that he get the ability to control the stock. Is that right, Cassie? Yeah? Trish? You said you were doing it? Bill? Yes. Okay, good. So, here's what happened. Same thing happens in real estate. So get this concept, because when you get this, the floodgates open. It is amazing. Okay? With an option, like he says, if you have to buy an option. You don't get them for free. What you're technically buying is the rights to that stock. Are you with me? So if I had with Jim, if I wrote an option agreement with him on his property, which by the way is one page, sometimes two, depending on which one you use. If I were to write an option, because he owns the property, and he gave me an option on his house, and I gave him $100, that $100 buys me the right to buy that property at the said price and time period. Are you with me? So, we're going to get into this a whole lot tonight, so don't worry about it if you don't get it yet. So, if I agree to buy his house for $100,000 and he gives me 12 months to pay him that $100,000, and I give him $100 to consummate the deal. It's called consideration, legal consideration. It's money. So if I give him $100, he's giving me the right to buy that property for $100,000 and pay him within 12 months.
It locks him in.
Yeah. It takes our verbal agreement and puts it in writing. Are you with me? So the $100 buys me the right to sell that property. Also, that option agreement makes me part owner of that property, because now I have a share of the equity. Although I've only given him $100 to buy the share of the equity, I have the rights of that equity. Are you with me? I bought the rights of that equity. So because now I'm an equity partner, or I bought the shares of that equity, I now could sell that property as if it was my own and not need a license, because I'm an equity share partner in this property.
One question.
Yeah?
How do you know you are the only one who has the right to sell them?
Right. So she said, how do I know I'm the only one that has the right to sell? I don't care. In fact, I actually tell him if he wants to go sell the property to somebody else, he can do that. It's a race. So like sometimes I'll tell him, you want to list it with a realtor? That's fine. Just tell the realtor that I have an option agreement and you have to take me out of their agreement. So if I sell, you don't have to pay them a commission. So it's exclusive rights. No. And in this particular case, there are some leases that we're going to use tonight that have exclusive rights. Okay? But just for the definition in general, if somebody else beats me to the punch with the sale of the house, he's got to send me written notice and I got to stop marketing the deal. Now, pay attention to this, okay? The option agreement is a verbal agreement that we shook hands on that says, I'm willing to pay $100,000 for this property within the next 12 months. Here's $100 to buy those rights. Okay? Watch this. Who's going to pay him the $100,000? Who's going to pay him the $100,000? I'm going to go find a buyer because I got 12 months to do that. I'm going to go find a buyer to give him the $100,000. So did I need money to buy that house? Now, wait a minute. We're going to talk about this tonight. I could actually sell my rights to somebody else. So I might sell, what is your name, Chris? I might sell, when I'm going to do this in a slot deal in a couple minutes, I might sell my rights to Chris for $10,000. I paid $100 for the rights, and I sold them to Chris for $10,000. Did I have to control the property? Did I have to close on the property? What did I have to do? I just needed to market. And I bought and sold equity. I didn't buy and sell a house. I bought and sold the equity. Now, the verbal agreement is between Jim and I, right? We put it in this option. It's like I have the right to come to the table, the closing table, with $100,000 when I find the money. Okay? When that happens, we write a new document. So I come to Jim and say, Jim, I found Chris. He's going to buy this property from you. We want to close within the next 30 days. At that point, we're going to write a purchase and sales contract that's going to have a shorter term, and it's going to be very specific on what we want to do. So the closing agent takes the purchase and sales contract and sees the roadmap. Like, okay, Chris is going to put $20,000 down, and Jim is going to hold a mortgage for $80,000 at 5% interest, at this much interest. You put all that stuff in the purchase and sales contract so they know how to write the documents, because the job of the purchase and sales contract is the roadmap to get to the closing. And the definition of a closing is deed changes hands, changes names. So at the closing, the deed's going to go from Jim to Chris, as long as Chris met Jim's obligations, right? And we're going to cover all the different ways that happens. One of the obligations might be that when Chris's money hits the closing table, Jim's got to pay off his mortgage and get a lien release from his mortgage company. That all happens in the closing. Is this clear? So you start with a verbal agreement, you put it in an option agreement, you go find your buyer, you get together, you write a purchase and sales agreement. The purchase and sales agreement gets you to the closing where you do the deed pass and all that stuff. Okay? That's how it works. Now, it took me years to realize how powerful this strategy is that I just taught you. Because when you start seeing some of the things that I do with an option, you're going to be like, what? You don't need to buy real estate to make money in real estate.